This little monster. This little monster right here. Yeah, this one. He tried to run away this morning. Yeah, I caught him on the streets. It's true. It's true. And I said Snoopy. And I said Snoopy again. And what did he do? He ran away. And then he crossed the street. And then when he crossed the street, he jumped in a puddle. The evidence is right there. He jumped in a puddle. And you know what else? I still love him so much. He's still my sugar pie and everything nice. Yes, he is. It's not his fault. He's just a baby. It's not his fault he wants to run away with the neighbor dog that he's in love with. He runs straight to him to go say good morning, honey, to my neighbor friend. He loves his neighbor. He loves his neighbor. He's a good Christian Georgie. It's not really his fault that he's crazy sometimes. It's just it's in his DNA. He's working on it. He's going to therapy. He's okay. Oh, but I was so mad. Mommy was so mad at her baby because he tried to run away. He didn't know what he was doing. He just wants to party outside. He just wants to party. That's it. It's not his fault. He's just a baby. Tell them what you did. Tell them. Tell them about jumping in the puddle. How was it? Was it at least fun for you? You licking your toes? You licking your toes, you little bad boy? Oh. Because he's a little brat. Look. It says it all right there. He is. It's true. Oh, he's gorgeous. He's gorgeous and he loves his mommy. He's gorgeous and he loves his mom. All right, see you later. Hi, good morning. Goodest of mornings today. I spent most of the morning crying just because of how good God is. I just love him so much and he is so good to me. And I've been so sensitive lately. I'm like, what's going on? I know usually I'm all like giddy and smiley and stuff, right? But I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful and I'm so tender and I'm so sensitive, but like in all the right ways, right? Not like sensitive where I'm like trying to describe it. I just feel so tender to his touch. I feel so tender to all that he has for me, and I just see the way he's moving in my life. And God gave me so many promises that I clung to for so many years, and just seeing how he's moving in those areas and in those promises, it just makes me think like, I just wish everyone could feel this way. And I can't help but be so grateful to him and the fact that he gave me the strength to endure the hardest seasons of my life. The scriptures say that, we pick up our cross and we follow God, right? That is our mission. That is our job. That is our duty. Because his burden is light and his yoke is easy. It's not hard. Like, it's hard, but it's not hard. It's hard because it goes against what's natural to you, right? It goes against what culture says. It goes against what family says. It goes against what people you grew up with say. But it's worth it. It's so worth it because just everything he has in store for those that love him, it's so overwhelming. It makes you sensitive in all the right ways, not in the way of like I'm strong for those around me. I'm strong for those that need me. But in his presence, I can be soft and I can be sensitive and I can be tender and I could be grateful and I could be his little shining baby star, and it just feels so nice. And yeah, so I've just been crying a lot lately, but like happy tears, very happy tears. And there's nothing to be sad about. There's only so much to be grateful for. Growing up for me, like, mornings, as you know, were not my favorite. And not only was it because mom was very angry in the mornings, but it was also because a lot of bad news would always get to us in the mornings. So I slept with my mom until I was like a big girl. I was like maybe 10 when I finally started sleeping in my own room. Don't tell anyone. But I remember like always hearing her in the mornings, like answering a call and being like really stressed out because one of my brothers did something bad, or like I'm not even gonna tell on them the things that like would happen and the news we would get in the mornings. But like even my brother, when he passed away, like the news got there in the morning and rushing, and just always like bad news in the mornings, you know. And so I learned to sleep my mornings away and to wake up late. And waking up early for like my early adult life was completely unnatural. And I had to fight against those things to provide, to survive, to work, right? I would have to force myself to get up. And just learning to fall in love with mornings and getting good news now. And just like wanting to go to sleep because I'm ready for a new day and I'm excited for the next day. Like that is so beautiful, and that is only something that God can do. Because in my own strength, I was in survival mode, and growing up, it was chaos. It was bad news all the time. And with God, it's just always good news. And even when it's not the greatest news, it's like, you know that He's there. You know that there's a reason. You know that because you've been faithful in your relationship with Him, that He's taking care of things. And you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders anymore, because you know He's carrying it. And I think that that's like what's allowing me to fall even deeper in love with Him these last few years. Like last season when He was calling me to obedience, because I stopped making my YouTube videos, and I stopped because like helping my family move in, it was a lot for me, right? And I didn't film it because I was already so focused on helping them emotionally and psychologically, and just like, right, getting this whole move done. That was a lot, and I didn't want to, like, maybe I should have filmed it, but I just didn't feel aligned with filming during that season. Once I was here, I was like overdoing things. I started taking on other people's responsibility, and God kept calling me to Him. He was like, Michelle, you're not spending time with me. Michelle, you know you need to be making your videos. And I was just like doing what I wanted to do, and God was like, no. And then He sent me the obedience stream, and He had just been pressing it on my spirit that I needed to spend time with Him alone, not carrying the weight of other people's problems. Something happened that kind of shocked my system, and I was like, whoa, okay, God, I get what you were trying to protect me from. And then the obedience came, and I started making my YouTube videos again, right? And being very consistent, and just very grateful. I'm just grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to share that I am feeling the tenderness of God so deeply in this season, and I'm just so grateful. And yeah, I just want you to know that He loves you very much, and that He wants you to feel the same depth of tenderness. But remember, it takes obedience on our part. It can't just be like God doing all the work. We got to put in our part too. And a lot of times that looks like rest. That looks like, especially because our culture is so like hustle, right? So for most people, it looks like resting in His presence. It looks like praying. It looks like communion. It looks like reading the Word. It looks like doing your part, your spiritual discipline, right? We do physical discipline here on my channel, but we also do spiritual discipline and emotional discipline, right? We don't let our emotions guide us in life. Our emotions are there to teach us, right? Our emotions are there for awareness, for self-awareness, for knowing our limits, for knowing what makes us mad, knowing what makes us sad, knowing what makes us happy, right? Like those emotions are very important, and so are all the rest of them, right? Because there's like so many. But like they all teach us about ourselves. But it doesn't mean that because we're angry we need to disrespect. It doesn't mean that because we're sad we need to lash out or hide our feelings or pretend like we're fine, right? It doesn't mean that when we're happy we can't express it because it's going to make others uncomfortable. Like, no, we need to be able to express our emotions in a healthy way, and that is emotional intelligence, and that is good, and that is what we practice here. So with all of that being said, we are in Job chapter 29. I can't believe we're in Job chapter 29 already. Oh my goodness. God is good. So the saying is, God is good, and then you say all the time, and then you say all the time, and then I say God is good. That's what we say. Okay, bye. I mean, hi. Okay, go. Hold on. We're reading the word. Hold on. Okay. So chapter 29 is a continuation of the previous chapters. We're still looking into Job's mindset and his current emotional state, right? He's still in a very dark place. And he is very expressive about his feelings right now, which is healthy. Remember, Job is healthy and God is not mad at him for feeling all of this. Job is valid in his feelings, which we are. Narcissists usually aren't. Narcissists feel things and they want to lash out and take it out on other people, right? But like healthy people, or people that are wanting to be healthy or learning to be healthy, it's knowing that whatever we're feeling, it's valid, it's real. If something makes you feel a certain way, don't gaslight yourself into thinking maybe something's wrong with me. No. Our feelings are real. Our feelings are valid. Okay, but it's how we go about what we feel that determines the outcome, right? So it's okay to feel, but it's not okay to use those feelings to excuse bad behavior. Does that make sense? And we are human. It's gonna happen sometimes. But like I've mentioned before, as long as it's not a character flaw, as long as you're not justifying it by saying, this is who I am, you have to accept me. That's not how it works. No. Like, yes, sometimes the feelings are going to be so overwhelming that maybe you're going to act out of character. But the goal is to not act out of character, to know that feelings are visitors. And making permanent decisions with temporary feelings is never healthy. With that being said, let's start reading. Job continued his discourse. How I long for the months gone by, for the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone upon my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. I'm smiling because I'm remembering in 2nd grade, I had a teacher, her name was Mrs. Barrett. But in 1st grade, I was behind on my reading, so I had a teacher named Miss McGee, and she would come and pick me up every Thursday, I want to say, and I would go with her for an hour and I would read with her. So they did that for me in 1st grade, and it was because I was behind with English because there was a lot of Spanglish going on in my house, a lot of Spanish, so English wasn't a strong suit of mine. And so I would go with Mrs. McGee and I would read with her, and I did that for the whole year, for all of 1st grade, and I always looked forward to it because she was like the sweetest, most tender woman in the world, and I just loved her so much. And so I would read with her, and I'm not gonna cry. So in 2nd grade, my favorite book was I Love You Forever. And it goes, I love you forever, I love you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And it was about a mom raising a boy. And the whole time she's raising him, she loves him. She loves him and she sings to him, and that's her baby. And no matter how big he gets, she goes into his room and she sings him that song. And she cradles him in her arms. And so he gets big, and then one day he cradles her in his arms and he sings her the same song. And then she passes away, and then he goes home and he picks up his baby. I'm okay. And he sings his baby that song. That was my favorite book in 2nd grade. And so I would read it all the time, and I just wanted my teacher, I wanted Mrs. Barrett to hear me read it. So I started reading it to her, and she was like, Michelle, sweetheart, you know how to read. You're amazing. She goes, but there are so many other students here that are really struggling, and I have to spend this reading time with them. And I was like, okay. And I was sad because I wanted to read to her. And at the end of that school year, she bought me the book because it was her book. So I would always keep it in my desk. I never wanted to return it. And she wrote me a note in there saying, like, Michelle, this book is for you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of your reading and how much you improved. And I bought you this book, and I know it's your favorite, and I want you to have this copy. And she just wrote me the sweetest little note, right? And just wishing me a happy reading career, essentially. And I kept that book with me for so many years. I kept it with me, and I would read it all the time. But I lost it. I moved so many times that I'm sure in one of those moves it just got left behind. And so I don't have it anymore, but it's one of my favorite books in the whole wide world. And I just remember, like, in my early 20s, just feeling called to film myself reading, right? And I didn't know what books, but I knew that it was part of my calling. And so I just always knew, and just right now it hit me. Like, it just hit me right now, like, what I'm doing. Like, I'm here, I'm living my dream, I'm reading to you. And this is what I always wanted to do when I was little. And it just made me think of little me and how proud she would be to know that this is what she does. She gets to read, and she gets to read the most important book in the world, in the whole wide world. And I always got awards, like always. Like, I would have really bad grades in all of the subjects, but in English I would always get the trophies, the awards, and the certificates and the improvements. And I was always like 2 or 3 grades ahead of my reading, like of where I was supposed to be reading wise. So I would always get those trophies and stuff. It just feels nice because that was the only subject. Everything else, oh no, I was not blessed. So for me, it's just English and psychology. Math, don't ask me, I still use my fingers. Science interests me, but it is very advanced, but it does fascinate me, right? And so there are a lot of subjects that fascinate me now, and I am interested in learning more about them, like history as well. I wasn't good at history growing up. I didn't care for it. I didn't see the importance of it. But when I realized the history of the Bible and how important it is to be aware of history and just have that knowledge, I realized the importance. And now, like, I used to go to my brother's house all the time, and we would watch movies, and he would educate me on history, and because he was a history buff, so that was his favorite subject. So that's what I love, right? Like, it's okay to not be strong in all of the subjects, but like where you are strong, focus on that. This is the book. Love You Forever, written by Robert Munch, illustrated by Shayla McGraw. And there he is. He was a real bad boy. He was a bad boy. Look at how his mommy found him. Oh my goodness. He's so cute. Okay, I need to stop crying because everything's making me so emotional. Okay, it says, Job continued his discourse. How I long for the months gone by, for the days when God watched over me. When his lamp shone upon my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. Oh, for the days when I was in my prime, when God's intimate friendship blessed my house, when the Almighty was still with me and my children were around me, when my path was drenched with ice cream and the rock poured out, when my path was drenched with cream, not ice cream. I want ice cream. Okay. And the rock poured out for me streams of olive oil. When I went to the gate of the city and took my seat in the public square, the young men saw me and stepped aside, and the old men rose to their feet. The chief men refrained from speaking and covered their mouths with their hands. He was very respected. The voices of the nobles were hushed, and their tongues stuck to the roof of their mouths. Whoever heard me spoke well of me, and those who saw me commended me, because I rescued the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had none to assist him. The man who was dying blessed me. I made the widow's heart sing. I put on righteousness as my clothing. Justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was a father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the wicked and snatched the victims from their teeth. I thought, I will die in my own house, my days as numerous as the grains of sand. So Job knew his identity. My roots will reach to the water, and the dew will lie all night on my branches. My glory will remain fresh in me, and bout ever new in my hand. Men listened to me expectantly, waiting in silence for my counsel. After I had spoken, they spoke no more. My words fell gently on their ears. They waited for me as for showers, and drank in my words as a spring rain. When I smiled at them, they scarcely believed it. The light of my face was precious to them. This is so sweet. I don't remember this chapter. I chose the way for them, and sat as their chief. I dwelt as a king among his troops. I was like one who comforts mourners. So Job is a very sweet and gentle spirit. This is what the excerpt says. The good old days. Tenderly, Job reminisces about the months gone by. Before his trials began, Job could think of no reason why he might deserve such treatment. The main point of the book of Job. His recollections of life in those days refute his friends' accusations against him. He had shown concern for the poor and oppressed, a fact that must have increased his bewilderment over the unfair treatment he was receiving. This is a powerful chapter because in it we see Job reminiscing on his life, on who he was before the destruction happened, and the joy in him and the sincerity in him, and how he was a good man, and that there was no reason for him to deserve what he's going through. And there wasn't, and there isn't. But God. I'm back and I'm emotional. Yeah, it breaks my heart because he was innocent, you know, and he was a good heart, and he was a sweetheart, and he was a good man, and he didn't deserve what happened. I would say just a moment of silence for Job. I just feel his pain so deeply, and it makes me think, like, I really hope I don't cry like this when my clients open up to me, because I gotta be strong for them. What if I can't do it? What if I can't do it? I can do it, right? Yeah, I just love him so much. I just love him so much. And I want to tell him that everything's going to be okay, but I know we're not supposed to do that. But the thing is, I know the ending. I know the ending, so I want to tell him. Everything's going to be okay, Job. I'm here. God's here. We're just crying together today. You know, when they like make fun of people because they're like, who picks up a camera when they're crying? It's like, hey, I was not crying when I picked up this camera. Okay, it happened here. It happened together. So you're in this with me, okay? Don't judge me. This is so real. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just in my feels today, I guess. I didn't know I would be, but here I am. God is good. God is so good. He's so faithful. And I love you so much. And if you feel this way, if you have ever felt this way before, just know that if you've ever felt this way, that God is with you and God sees you and he sees your pain. And I mean, remember, God experienced the most tragic death a human being can ever go through. He experienced the worst pain and backlash and hatred, from getting spit on to getting hit with whips to having his skin break off of him because of the things that they did to his body. And they mocked him and they spit at him. And they just did so many terrible things to our God. And so he's the last person we should be mad at when we're feeling pain, because he gets it, and he gets it in the worst way possible. He gets it. He gets it in the way that he was poor. He grew up poor. He grew up a hard worker. And then his life ended in the most tragic way. And so that's why that's what we look up to, right? Job didn't have Jesus in the flesh yet. Job came before Jesus. Job was a Jewish man, I'm sure. And, you know, so Job didn't have the hope that we have, but we have our hope in Jesus. The man that loved us more than anyone will ever love us. And he suffered greater than we will ever suffer in our lifetime. Even if we've gone through the hardest things in the world, it will never compare to him, right? And it's not about comparison, but it's about knowing that the God that loves us, the God that sees us truly. Because he felt the pain of the world. He felt the depth of pain in ways that we'll never see. He sits at the right hand of the Father, praying over us and guiding us and loving on us from heaven and calling us home and saying, come on, guys, you can do it. I love you. I love you so much. I'm going to end this section here just because I need to breathe. I need to spend time with God. As we all do, and I hope that you are doing that. And just know that he loves you so much, and that he's with you, and that you're not alone. God bless you and be with you.
I love it when we hang out in your treehouse after dark. When you hang my heart against the wall and play with darts. I know it's kinda sad, but you're the only. Oh my God, I promise I will love you even with my broken heart. No. 7 Up in my red car, tears pour down on your makeup. You can hold me down if you want to. I don't really mind, cause I like to feel that fire in my chest, watch it burn out. You can hold me down if you like to. I don't really mind, cause I love you. Remember when we took my car and scratched it with our names, and I was writing poetry about you every day. Yeah, I know things they never tend to stay the same, but I don't think you love me, and it kills me every day. No. 7 Up in my red car, tears pouring down on your makeup. You can hold me down if you want to. I don't really mind, cause I like to feel love, how it hurts now. Fire in my chest, watch it burn out. You can hold me down if you like to. I don't really mind, cause I love you. With the body fire, so it feels right. Knife to my chest as I don't cry. 7 Up in my red car, tears pouring down on your makeup. You can hold me down if you want to.